right. Yeah, so hit the like button if you like the craziness, and let me know in the comments if you want to see more mono white content. And hit the subscribe button. And if you don't like it by the end of the video, you can always hit unsubscribe if you don't want to see more, but you won't forget if you hit subscribe right now. So we are playing mono white mid-range, or 8-field Stoneblade as the title suggests. This is a deck that is near and dear to my heart because I used to play a mono white deck that I loved a lot in Legacy. In Legacy, mono white had a lot of powerful hate pieces, and while we don't necessarily play mono white for the hate pieces in Modern, what we do get is a lot of removal that just straight up exiles. How sweet would it be if we had Swords to Plowshares, but probably a bit too powerful for Modern. Man, Swords to Plowshares is just so crazy. It's just so much better than any other removal. It's wild. But Path to Exile, man, is pretty close to possibly even being better than Swords to Plowshares in this deck with the 8 fields. And that's really what we're doing. We're applying the 8-field formula, so to speak, to mono white. And yeah, so it's pretty much the usual suspects like usual. I think Mortarpod, Lion Sash, Batterskull, and Kaldra are pretty much the quad, the quad, strike force that we need with Stoneforge Mystic. I'm pretty much over the swords, believe it or not. I know the swords are like, when they take over the game, you really remember those games and you think that like it'd be crazy not to play without them. But what you don't realize is all the games where the swords are just so clunky and they just don't do anything, and specifically don't bail you out of certain situations that, other cards could have. And in that regard, let me just say, Mortarpod seems like it's just not so great, but it's just always, I mean, especially when in a format with Ragavan, DRC, and now Orcish Bowmasters, which being able to snipe those things is a pretty big game. Yeah, it's just this card. It's not great in every single situation and in every single matchup, but I mean, hey, we're only playing it as a one-of, and it's tutorable with Stoneforge in the matchups where it is good, and where it is good, it's just such an unsung hero. It also gives us reach, notably, and that's sometimes like that. Literally games we can't win without it. Just having the ability to convert our creatures into pseudo burn spells, like we literally have no reach in this deck without this, and like a mono white deck actually gains reach because of Mortarpod. I don't know what to say other than that. This, in my opinion, is really an unsung hero, and the standard players from the Caw-Blade era, I mean, they swore by it, and I mean, believe it or not, it never got not good in my opinion. Even before Ragavan, I've always liked this. I've literally always liked this. I don't think I need to say much more. Kaldra, I don't think I need to say much more either. It hits fast, it hits hard, it's indestructible. Yeah, it's going to be hit by some side effects of people playing Exile artifact effects for the One Ring, but I mean, it still hits hard, it still hits fast. Nothing hits harder, nothing hits faster for such a low amount of mana. Kaldra, it is what it is. Batterskull, pretty, probably the most common fetch still, slightly more than Kaldra. Basically for the more mid-rangey decks where we don't have to kill as quick, but the life gain is also relevant, and the vigilance, of course. There's a reason why this got Stoneforge banned in Standard, basically. And Lion Sash, I mean, this really rounds out. I really did search Gatherer for other possible options. I just think this really is the best 4th slot, and it probably will be for a while. And one thing actually that I didn't quite appreciate at first is it is really, really good graveyard hate. It's not like you may want to wait until you have a lot of mana to fully snipe as many cards out of the graveyard as you can. But like this is really, really solid graveyard hate that is incidentally tutorable for Stoneforge Mystic. And this, we don't really need to play, other graveyard hate in the main, I think, at least not in the current meta. And that's just kind of nice that this is just a way we can interact with the graveyard where we couldn't otherwise. And the fact that it can get super huge too, especially like each Field of Ruin is potentially 2 permanents, one in their graveyard, one in ours. It's just very sweet. Yeah, especially when we want to play Relic with Restoration of Eiganjo. It's just an insane advantage. We'll see it in action. Explaining why this card is good is kind of like harder than actually seeing it in action and seeing like what it does for us. But it's just card advantage, potentially ramp, potentially just cheating, on mana for 1 or 2 cards if you ditch them from your hand and return them. Possibly card quality because you couldn't like ditch the planes you put into your hand for like a better 1 or 2 cost card in your graveyard later in the game. The 3/4 that gains spirit tokens when it attacks or blocks is valid. this card is very, very close in my opinion in power level to Fable. This card kind of makes it can't, it boggles my mind that I played mono white mid range for a while without this, not knowing that this existed. Once I found out this existed, I think from an Aspiring Spike video, I'm just like, why am I not playing this? Anyway, yeah, the rest kind of is what it is. Oh yeah, and then the elephant in the room, Mazemind Tome. So believe it or not, I had a Squadron Hawk in this slot for a while. I had Spirited Companion, or Spirit, yeah, I had Spirited Companion of all things in this. You know, the thing is, like, and I even had like a Charming Prince. I went through many different options, but you know, at the end of the day, what I found out is like, hey, you know, Mazemind Tome is so great in mono red mid range. What about playing this in mono white? And you know what? I mean, it still scries when it needs to scries. It still can drop to 4 cards in the matches where we just need raw card advantage. Helps us hit our 3rd land drop. Gains life, which is always helpful in mid range matchups to help stabilize. I mean, you know. What can I say? You know, really, this is an argument can be made that this could fit in all of our mid-range decks, regardless of color. But I still overall think that the blue and the black decks have they have enough of advantageous life gain, card advantage, other type effects of their own that they don't necessarily need it. I mean, yeah, like what can I say? It's very solid, and I was impressed when I tried it at first. Castle Ardenvale. It is a little disappointing that there may be some turns where we can't play a white source on turn 1, so we may not be able to deploy Thraben Inspector on curve. But it just so happens that the only card that we really like, our only true 1-drop is actually kind of Thraben Inspector, so I don't think we're hurt that much. And this can easily get burned anyway out of the way of Ragavan. So like, I think it's okay. This is a cool card, 2 toughness. You know, it's a one. It also draws a card. It still wears equipment, so it's just nice to have. But yeah, at the end of the day, what can I say? I think Castle's still fine, even if we have to play it tapped on turn 1 if we don't have another planes. And yeah, Path to Exile looks like a 1-drop, but most of the time we can. But I mean, like sometimes it's correct to like hit a Ragavan. But you know, this is the type of card where it can be played on turn 1, but we also kind of get it rewarded by waiting because we don't want to necessarily mana ramp the opponent or hold off on the mana ramp as long as possible. It's definitely better late in the game when the lands are more frivolous and not as important. It's also worth noting that when we hit them with enough Field of Ruins and Demolition Fields, the Path to Exile has become pretty much just 1 mana exile target creature with no downside. Always nice. Yeah, so we're gonna play Soulgun Lantern. I actually had 3 other Lion Sashes in the sideboard for a while, but there are just some matchups here and there, like Dredge and stuff. Living End also. Like, while Lion Sash is great and all, it's a little slow for the Living End matchup, so I just kind of like having something that can deploy a little faster in Living End and dodge getting hit by Grief if we're on the play at least, and you know, and maybe actually like go off on the graveyard because Lion Sash on the draw, it can't even exile any cards from the graveyard, and even on the play, sometimes you'll lose because you can't exile enough cards from the graveyard, and you can still get got. So you know. Just and also like what's cool about this card is it just plays well with Restoration of Eiganjo because you could fire it off, exile their whole graveyard, and then later in the game you can bring it back. Always nice. Yeah, and Skyclave Apparition. This is just an all-around solid card that honestly an argument could be made that it could be main deckable, but I'm not sure what to remove. I'm not going to remove Mazemind Tome, believe it or not. Also Thraben Inspector, the lower converted mana cost. No way I'm taking out a Wall of Omans. Like defensively, drawing a card, 4 toughness, just very good. I don't know. Like I guess the most cuttable would probably be Thraben Inspector. I know you'd think it'd Mazemind Tome, but I don't think so. But yeah, just the lowering the curve just makes it less clunky. Plus, we do have answers to most permanent types anyway through Martyr of the Otherworldly and Blast Zone in the main deck. Notably, this can hit Planeswalkers too, but not like Big Teferi or anything over 4 mana, but it hits like a lot of the Planeswalkers that are 4 or less, which is sweet. Hits Little Teferi, hits Wrenn and 6, hits Jace the Mind Sculptor. Notably, it hits the One Ring, and that's one of the main reasons this is in the sideboard. It's not strictly necessary, but what I like is this card is very, very serviceable in a lot of matchups, while also being just a very solid answer to the One Ring. What I like about this, as opposed to something like Oblivion Ring or whatever, is that usually they're packing ways to get our Oblivion Ring type effects or whatever off the battlefield, since they are prepared for Pithing Needle, which is a very cheap way that's even better hate against them. And At least if they deal with the Skyclave Apparition, yeah, they'll get a 4/4 token, but it's better than getting the one ring, you know, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's also just serviceable in a lot of matchups. And then we also have cut short. I mean, like I said, um, what's it called? Skyclave Apparition can't hit the bigger planeswalkers. Cut short, like I know this card looks janky and looks clunky, but it is actually surprisingly good because this deck actually has a little bit of a weakness to planeswalkers, and especially like big Teferi. You know, honestly, if Skyclave Apparition could hit like any permanent, regardless of four or less, then an argument could be made we might not need it. But I mean, the instant speed is just good too, because sometimes, like, in some decks, if they untap with the Planeswalker, they can back it up with counter magic or something, and, being able to, like, we have to hold up the mana, because unfortunately, the way it's limited, we have to, hit it after the Planeswalker activates. But if we're in a late game situation where we're holding up mana, like, sometimes they won't have counter magic up. We can deal with the Planeswalker and, end a turn after it activated, and, it did its job. The fact that this can also hit creatures, very relevant. There's a surprising number of matchups where just having more creature removal is big, big, big game. Because especially like Zoo comes to mind, for example. And the fact you can convoke it too, also making like little Thraben Inspector be even more powerful. Just being able to help, Wall of Omans as well. We have one Thraben Inspector, one Wall of Omans, and suddenly cut short basically costs one mana. I mean, it's better than it looks, man. Let me tell you. Yeah, it's basically the main thing is just this weakness to planeswalkers. If planeswalkers didn't exist, yeah, there's better creature removal. But the fact that this can hit planeswalkers, make no mistake, that's the reason why this is in. But being able to hit tap creatures, it's surprisingly relevant too. So not sure what else to say. Um, we got a few flex slots to deal with. Three more slots to deal with. So I feel like I want to fill them with some silver bullet equipment. Citizen's Crowbar gives us the ability to hit artifacts and enchantments of any size, which is notable because all our artifact and enchantment hate in the main deck and sideboard is pretty much all limited to converted mana cost 4 or less, or the amount of mana we can pump in through Blast Zone or March of Otherworldly Light. So it's just kind of nice that Citizen Crowbar can hit an artifact or enchantment of any size, regardless of how large. So like, I don't know, Portal, Possessed Portal, or Portal to Phyrexia, or like whatever. Some of these bigger artifacts that show up from time to time. It's just, it's kind of nice. Plus, it's just a good fetch against like Hammer Time or other artifact and enchantment heavy decks. It could be a good side out for like Lion Sash, where the graveyard isn't as important, or big creatures aren't as important. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, really. Specter Shroud, this is probably the biggest question mark sideboard card. So far, I'm fairly satisfied with it. I don't necessarily see myself dropping it anytime soon, unless there's a more efficient effect like this. What I just really like about this is that it's just so much cheaper than the swords. Like, the one equip cost is like, it's just so good because unlike the swords, which cost 2, the difference between 1 and 2 is surprisingly not as negligible as you might think. But also, unlike the swords, very importantly, in some matchups, like basically what this is in here for is it's like for like combo matchups or other matchups where we kind of want to be able to interact with their hand. Like, it is card advantage, and it also can like disrupt them on some level, which together with the fields, it might actually, like Tron is a good example. This is a great card to sideboard in against Tron. While you're hitting their lands and stuff, pressuring their hand, it's not completely irrelevant. This is one of the only ways I think we can actually possibly beat Tron is we pressure their lands, we pressure their hand. When planeswalkers or creatures slip through, I mean, this is a clean answer to this and this are clean answers to Wormcoil Engine and Cut Short. We have to bring it in from the sideboard, but Cut Short is a clean answer to most of the planeswalkers, even like Ujin the Spirit Dragon. While I don't think Tron is a positive matchup, I think with all this new tech, we have a better shot of being able to juke him than we ever did before. And Specter Shroud is just one example in that matchup, but there's other matchups as well, like Burn. Like, it's not most ideal, but any burn spell you can get out of their hand is just less you have to deal with to your face. Plus the fact that it just as a bonus gives +1 to power, it's sweet. It just enables you to make attacks you wouldn't otherwise be able to make. And I know it looks janky, but I guess the main thing maybe I forgot to say is you can play Stoneforge Mystic, tutor it up, and then equip it to Stoneforge Mystic, attack the very next turn. It curves out from a Stoneforge Mystic itself in a way that the swords just don't. And they're in the matchups where you just need to immediately start pressuring their resources, because like Scape Shift or other decks where you're just not going to be favored in the late game if you just keep let them doing what they're doing unmolested, so to speak. Then Specter Shroud, it's good stuff. And then Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. This is kind of just a concession that we just don't really have a good mill matchup for the most part. If we don't have this, our only real hope is to drop a Stoneforge Mystic, pray it doesn't get countered, or Fatal Pushed, or Drown in the Locked, or whatever. Any number of removal spells they could have, Murderous Cut, whatever. And then just try to go to town with the Kaldra to kill them really quickly, or as quickly as Mono White can, which is usually turn 5 at the absolute earliest anyway. Because let's see, turn 2, yeah, turn 3 attack 5, turn 4 attack 10, turn 5 attack 6. Sometimes you're talking, I mean, yeah, let's see, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes you're talking turn 6, man. But I mean, at least the fact that it does, I mean, killing by turn 6 is better than killing by turn 7, 8, 9. You get the idea. But yeah, fundamentally, the deck just this is not the fastest clock deck, and that's also best case scenario. A lot of times this card, we won't draw it, or they'll be able to kill it. We kind of are sitting duck against mill without this, and the fact that this card can also be cast in some matchups, you know, and also discarded from our hand if we draw it when we don't need it, because of Eiganjo. This card is better than it looks. What can I say? I think I approve. And yeah, with that, I guess let's get into the games. Hope you all enjoy. This is a deck to my heart for sure. All right, take care. All right, let's get started. Let's see how this goes. This hand is arguably not keepable, but you know, we were still in the test mode for Mazemind Tome, so we said, hey, and hey, with the fact that we just rip planes off the top, we'll take it. But yeah, the Mazemind Tome definitely, you know, being able to give 2 scries to find a white source or just another land, so we can field a ruin and draw a card. What can I say? Yeah, Stoneforge Mystic. Force them to have to deal with it. Otherwise, we get a Kaldra. They're not exactly, you know, exuding like having a ton of removal spells, so why not? Why not dump the old Kaldra into play? That's our thinking, at least. What even is this? This is kind of looking like Amulet Titan with a really funky hand, but even that is just also they got Chandra Dress to Kill as their avatar. Man, I had such high hopes for Chandra Dress to Kill, but it still is actually not a bad card. I just think that Fable just ended up being just outclassing it in most ways. But yep, yeah, we'll go after the Karn, I think. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't block anything else, but hey, we'll take it. Draw cards off of Mazemind Tome. Oh, the One Ring to rule them all. Ho ho ho. So what are they going to do to abuse this? I'm actually wondering if they're a Wilderness Reclamation deck, Lotus Field. So I'm not sure what all this means, but the good news is we actually have March of Otherworldly Light. This is actually, in this One Ring meta, this is one of the things I actually really, oh yeah, I remembered that they have protection for everything, so, but this is one of the things I remembered I actually like thought about, is I think that the mono white deck kind of has the most built-in sort of protection from ring shenanigans out of all our decks. You know, it is not unconceivable that our mono white deck actually could end up being the best position out of all our monocolored decks, even the mono red one, in the One Ring environment. Just because, like, just all the cards just pretty naturally, so to speak, you know, they all just pretty naturally play their part. So yeah, so I wonder what's going on here. So they're twiddling the germ token. Okay, that's fine. So what I think I missed out on lethal here, because what I could have done is I could have like solituded or pathed or something the Boreal Bracer. And I mean, I still end up doing that, but what I failed to realize, I think at the time, was that if I could just play a Stoneforge Mystic into a Mortarpod, finish them off. The more reps we get with the deck, but it turns out it didn't matter anyway. Like, the more we'll see those lines, and we don't want to have to rely on doing after the fact commentary to see them. All right, but anyway, we still got it anyway. All right, next one. All right, match 2. So we're gonna call this Simic One Ring Lotus Field. So we obviously want to bring in a Skyclave Apparition for more hatred against the ring, which is always good. Wall of Omans definitely comes out for that, and we don't really need to decide on anything else. So that's that. Just basically Wall of Omans for, because they don't seem to present any aggro. So, what's it called? Thraben Inspector ends up kind of being the better of the two. Usually, Wall of Omans is better than Thraben Inspector, but in matchups where they're not so aggro, then might as well just play the card that actually deals damage, even if it's just one at a time. Alrighty, so with Scrying, I can get Boseiju. Interesting. Interesting. So they did get one ring, but we do have a March of Otherworldly Light, which is always nice. Kaldra. So yeah, they sacrifice these. I think the plan, I don't know, it's so close playing Restoration or Kaldra. We go for Kaldra. We want to. They probably have some kind of answer that we're not thinking of, but at the end of the day, just being able to dish out the damage seems very good, especially when the one ring, does cost life. Although we're a little bit worried about Force Negation, but we can't live in fear, so we're probably just going to Skyclave Apparition. And hey, the fact that yeah, Skyclave Apparition is a no-brainer. Also, this can't get Force Negation, and I think the odds that they have Subtlety is lower. At worst case scenario, even if they did have Subtlety, we still could March of Otherworldly Light, pitching like 2 white cards, which is always nice. So interesting. A lot of cycling, a lot of untapping. Oh, so it is some kind of amulet deck. I'm still probably going to call this Simic One Ring Lotus Field. I feel like Lotus Field is more unique and more, oh man, more One Ring. I think we might end a turn march this. Yeah, interesting. I mean, I stand by it. The Mazemind Tome just potentially draws so many cards, and we can still attack Karn under the ring. So might as well play around a Solitude or something of theirs. So bam. Yeah, and we'll Restoration into Mazemind Tome, and we like it. I think we can get away with this again because the yeah, I guess they can Boseiju this though. Sorry about that. But they're letting us untap, which we'll definitely take. Yeah, we like it. Okay. No reason to do that. Lion Sash, we like it. Let's see here. Ottawa, that's what it is. Okay. Lion Sash, I guess. Oh, or this. Yeah, I stand by it. I mean, I don't know what kind of broken things they're planning to do, but Haywire Might. Okay. Gotta whittle their lands out a little bit. Bam, bam. Money Graham. I guess I attacked to force them to have to block, but I did miss out on putting the Batterskull into play. But I still can just put I could still just put Lion Sash, So that's what we do. I'm not really getting strong sweeper vibes. So that's that. That's a wrap, as they say. Yeah, it looks like their deck is pretty all in on the One Ring, unless I'm missing something. So I think if we can deal with the One Ring, which thankfully we are set up to do that, then they're just I think that we can deal with what they're doing. Thankfully we had the answers to the One Ring, so next time. All right, second match we're highlighting here. Let's see what the old hand giveth. I think this has got to be a mulligan. It's just, yeah, too dangerous. This card is a little floody, but at least it has lands and it has 2 very strong payoffs. Just gonna have to hope to whittle the early game, and if this is a Ragavan, thankfully it's not. All right. Okay, so yeah, that's obviously not the draw we want when we don't have a. Oh man, it looks like it's some kind of a Gleeful Demolition deck. Yep, it is. Oh boy. Restoration Loxodon, I've had enough. Maybe I should have at least waited till my turn. I think I actually did, and it just terminated early. But no, I'm not feeling this one. I'm sorry. All right, match 2. I think I'm gonna call this Kuldotha Loxodon, because I think Loxodon is kind of what sets this deck apart. It's not necessarily what I see in the Kuldotha decks universally. We definitely brought in Skyclave Apparition, just because it's a pretty clean answer um, to a lot. I mean, it's a 2/2 body, pretty clean answer. Like Restoration just seems too. This is not one of the matchups where value is the main thing, just surviving is. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. All right, let's go to it. And this is definitely good. The Thraben Inspector is surprisingly good in this matchup because it blocks the 1/1s, and it's a 1-mana card that blocks the 1/1s and draws a card. Oh, Batterskull for sure, man. Batterskull hype. Yeah, what can I say? Oh man, the Virtue. So yeah, that's a little bit concerning. But I gotta say, unless they have some kind of like smash to smithereens or something, the Batterskull is going to do a lot of work. Okay, will they Exile? I mean, they play this stuff. Venerated Loxodon, that's also good. So, but we're gonna bat Batterskull in. Batterskull every day. Yeah, and let's actually play the Stoneforge because guess what? We get to get Kaldra. So we've got two amazingly good blockers, and just like that, they're in a little bit of a pickle, in my humble opinion. The Kaldra is a great blocker for even the largest of Knight Errant Eos whatever cards. I think what we're ultimately angling for, we could take care of the Force of Virtue. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing. We're suiting up the suiting up the Batterskull token with the Kaldra token with the Batterskull, and this just puts them in a situation where I mean, even they got such a huge army, but this is kind of ridiculous. So I'll take it. I mean, yeah, man, that's the power of Stoneforge Mystic, man. You got to remove it, or this happens. We get our Kaldra Batterskull token. 9/9 trample, lifelink, vigilance, indestructible. Like, man, oof. Okay, match. Game 3. Any different sideboarding that we did? It doesn't look like. Yeah, doesn't look like. So, yep. And this hand is reluctantly going to have to be a keep. Well, maybe not. Never mind. I think this hand is also a mulligan. Never mind. Well, at the end of the day, I think our thinking is, look, we got Stoneforge Mystic. I think my thinking is actually we kind of needed Stoneforge Mystic. It was kind of make or break. So you know what? I think I was kind of pretty much mulliganing the Stoneforge Mystic, actually. As it turns out, I think that's kind of going to be super important. I can always wait till next turn to Solitude the Loxodon. Make no mistake, I think Solitude the Loxodon is the plan, but yeah. I think we're going to have to tank this much damage, but we can at least, yeah. The March of Otherworldly Light could come in handy, being extra removal and all. Alright, well, Kuldotha Rebirth, man. So, but I think we weather the storm though. We do weather the storm, I think. Yeah, and the thing is, it's so good we gained the life before anything else. Because 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but we gained 4 life. Yeah, so we barely survive. Oof, well, actually double March is pretty good here. I could have actually gone after the blood token, but I think we probably need to hit the, yeah, plus the clue token is better. Yeah, we'll hit the clue token. And yeah, we'll definitely do this because we can equip. I wonder why I didn't Skyclave. Oh, I know why, because I was going to play Blast Zone. Yeah, yeah. So Blast Zone's super important. Oh my God, this is the epicness right here. Like, oh man, and it's crazy that we actually survived that. And now we can make Ardenvale tokens, so don't mind if we do. And now we can equip the Ardenvale. This is one of the reasons actually why I love Castle Ardenvale on this deck. Is more bodies to equip the Batterskull to. So now if they combine block it, we just move it over to the token. Oh man, this is really one of the showcases to, like, if you can afford Stoneforge Mystics, I think that they're very good. I don't see how we win this matchup otherwise. I mean, yeah, we in the budget version we have Winds of Abandon, but getting to 6 mana, I mean, I think it's way easier to deploy a Batterskull on turn 3 through a Stoneforge Mystic than it is to go to 6 and Winds of Abandon. And this shows the insane power of Batterskull. This is what got this card banned in Standard. All right, third match we are highlighting. Let's see what the hand giveth. All right, well, in the blind we'll keep, because we do have the ability to cash in one of these fields for white mana, but there are certainly matchups, and Ragavan is signaling to me it probably is one of these matchups where, you know, maybe we shouldn't have kept. The problem is we just don't know. I mean, if this is Tron, then this is kind of like as good as it gets for the most part, at least game 1 against Tron. So that's the problem. At the end of the day, Modern still just is so wide that we don't know fundamentally. So it looks like it's Zoo. Surprised I didn't play the wall. I think the plan of attack here. All right, for better or for worse, I think we are deploying the Thraben Inspector. Oh, that's brutal. That's why they didn't, I guess, play the wall. Draco, Sign of Draco, man. Somehow we don't happen to have any of our hard removal. Like we have to pitch so many cards for Sign of Draco to do anything. So I think we're going to play Blast Zone at least. So maybe at least we got that. All right, double tribal flames. Cool. All right, game 2. This is where we definitely bring in the cut shorts for sure. I'm surprised we brought out Batterskull. This would seem like a precise kind of deck where, oh, you know what? I remember this one. This is where I actually make a misplay. I make the strategic decision to take out the Stoneforge package, but I forget to actually take out Stoneforge Mystic. So just FYI, these restorations are supposed to be Stoneforge, because we took out the equipment package. We took out the Stoneforges and the equipment package for basically cut short and Skyclave Apparition. Even though Batterskull is great for the life gain, we still have life gain through other ways like Mazemind Tome, and we just need to overload on removal. As we could see, just being stuck without removal just pretty much is a death sentence. If we have removal, the 8 fields can also help keep them off of their stuff, so we'll see how that plays out. Now Stoneforge is just literally a squire, unfortunately. I don't know if I'm going to show the sideboard next game, but if I don't, I do correct this by the 3rd game, and Restoration comes in instead of Stoneforge, just FYI. All right, let's go. Let's see what the hand bringeth. Yeah, we'll keep. Ready. Good old Thraben Inspector. Da-da-da-da-da. Inspector Gadget. Da-da-da-da-da. Ho-ho. Yeah, the March of Otherworldly Light seems like a pretty no-brainer. Bam, bam, money gram. Alrighty. Yeah, see, when we have removal, everything is as it should be, in my humble opinion. Alrighty. Okay, so we enter the hand. And once we hit 5 mana, we got the Parade of Solitudes, and I think we're going to be in okay shape. It's another source of life gain. Surprised I didn't juice up Blast Zone, but I guess, yeah. I gotta hit that next mana. So do we path? I think we actually don't. This is so frustrating. So I guess we just hit that because we don't want to get hit by a Stubborn Denial. We were a little bit worried about just getting hit by like quad Tribal Flames, but anyway, not this time. All right, so at least we scry. Expressive Iteration. Wild Slash. I'm surprised they didn't Wild Slash me. I mean, they were so aggressive on hitting me with surprised I didn't hold up Solitude. I guess my thinking is I just want to like hit more land drops, but it's just not happening. All right, I guess I'd start deploying the Solitudes now. I really got to gain the life, so I guess they'll Leyline Binding this one. That's fine. I mean, eventually I'm going to get them with Thraben Inspector beats. All right, this is certainly time for the old Solitude. Some more Leyline Bindings. All right, you got it. Alrighty, so I'm going to hit this. Wild Slash. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna hit the Leyline Binding. Get a Solitude. Yeah. Cool stuff. All right, we got that one. All right, game 3. And this time we do remember to actually take the Stoneforges out since we took out the package. The restorations go back in, all is as it should be. Again, this is a mulligan, just no. Yeah, there we go. This one is the cut short is the most clunky of the removal. It still would have been welcome. So, they'll probably just remove it and probably, oh, or not. Okay, and I think this is just a wrap, as they say. And they just yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. They would just win solely on the back of Ragavan, but I hate to be fair. In game 1, it kind of did. So, but yeah, probably bad keep from the opponent. Could have been a more interesting game, but I like our chances. Games 2 and 3. I mean, look at this hand. It's got the answers to Wither the Storm in the beginning. Oh, we just have to hit some Mazemind Tomes, start pulling hand and card advantage. You get the idea. All right. Eventually, we start parading out the Solitudes like in game 2. Hopefully, that's the plan at least. All right. All right, fourth match we're highlighting here. This is definitely a keep. We got the Stoneforge, we got the March, and yep. Let's Stoneforge it up here. I mean, it's just pretty obviously. Yeah, we'll put Batterskull because I mean, an argument could have been made for Kaldra, but I'm seeing red, so I apparently incorrectly sensed that they had a removal spell. So interestingly enough, I go for this. I think my thinking is I might be able to play around Leyline Binding because I think I kind of sensed maybe they're actually a mono white deck or a blue white deck. I don't know. This in retrospect, this was probably a mistake. But as we can see, the Leyline Binding or the Hallowed Moonlight comes out. So they had an answer, whatever. It is what it is. Oh, I did get Kaldra. I thought I got Batterskull for some reason. I got Kaldra. That makes sense. Seems more of a matchup for Kaldra. Alright, well, Restoration. See if it resolves. It does. We get basic planes. We play Wall of Omans. You know the drill. This matchup could go the distance. They're actually ahead of us on time, notably. We're prime, okay. Alright, cool story, I guess. Reprieve. Alright, the One Ring. Oh boy. The One Ring to rule them all. We're going to get rid of this to get a Field of Ruin, which also mana ramps us. We're going to march off Otherworldly Light. We're going to pray the Thraben Inspector, Specter Gadget. Alright, and of course they have protection for everything, so no point in attacking. They're playing our pal Squadron Hawk. We still love this card. This card was so sweet. Very sweet, indeed. Okie dokie. I'm just not sure how many basics they play, so just doing what I think is right. Alrighty. Actually, they gained a ton of life. Always nice. And they revealed a bunch of cards. Oh yeah. This match is gonna go on for a while, man. It really is. This is one of those matches, like, I mean, both of us are kind of playing decks that can stall like mad if need to. All right, buckle in, folks. I think this one's gonna be a long one. We do have the option to play Kaldra. We do have the option to draw a ton of cards too. I have way more mana than them, so there's that. So do I create a token or do I draw a card? I think I draw a card. Yeah. Put this 2. Okay, discard a card. Martyr Sands. Yeah, let's go. I mean, why not, right? Of course, they're gonna play Supreme Verdict, which is fine. Draw a card. Thraben Inspector, Specter Gadget. All right. So I got 2 more Squadron Hawks in their hand. Let's put that. Oh, yeah, make a token. I realize I made a mistake by attacking with both of these here, because they obviously are going to Solitude one, soak up the other one. That is what it is. We saw the Solitude in their hand. On the other hand, this gives me an opportunity to deploy my Solitude at a good time. Alrighty. Man, talk about a long game here, man. Okay. Okay. Draw. Yeah, I might as well gain 4 life. Yeah, I might as well play Restoration of Eiganjo. And we can still play it. Might as well. Alrighty. So we're prime in their hands. So they can probably Prismatic Ending it. Oh, but they don't actually. Oh man, we gotta draw. We gotta draw some removal for this, or things are gonna get ugly. Things are gonna get ugly. Oh my God, we have. Where's our other March of Otherworldly Lights? Like, what's going on here? Come on, dudes. Come on, we gotta draw. Okay, there we go. Finally. Hopefully, I don't have some kind of answer for this. Okay. All right. Good. Good. That was scary. That was scary. Scary, scary. Okay. Yeah, 3. Stoneforge Mystic. Alrighty. Batterskull. Probably should have clacked the Blast Zone before. Oh, actually, that's what I was going for. But of course, Leyline Binding, they had Prismatic Ending too. Somehow they managed to draw so many cards. It's like, ugh. It's like yuck, yuck, yuck. Oh, okay, 1 ring. 1 ring to rule them all. Why did I do this? Really, I should have been able to one-shot it to Fairy. Problem is, though, is that, yeah, no March of Otherworldly Light. Could have deployed Batterskull, but I think I just want to create a token. Oh man, they're gonna draw so many cards. I need. Okay, finally I got March of Otherworldly Light. Jeez. But they drew too many cards, though. I guess they only drew 3. 3 is still a lot of cards, but. Yeah. I want to make sure that was on the bottom rather than somewhere else. Oh my God, more 1 rings. Say it isn't so. Okay. Got rid of the Leyline Bindings at least. They draw a bunch of cards. Okay. I guess we could take care of the Teferi. We need another March of Otherworldly Light, though. Put in the bottom of our library. We have the main deck answers, but we have to draw them before the opponent draws their rings. Or we're in a world of hurt. So we create some more tokens. At this point, we are just literally trying to be ahead on the clock as much as possible for the next game. Because these matches are taking forever. Oh my god. Oh my god. Kaldra. Of course. Mm. Mm-hmm. I think I played the Teferi. I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah, so I wish I had more to say, but they're just kind of. This game is just kind of turning into like literally the grindiest of grindfests. This is what Wizards wanted to avoid in the early game with like too much life gain, too much to, can't actually being able to kill your opponent. It's like, ugh. The bird's joining us. She's not so talkative yet, so if you hear a little chirping, the baby bird has joined. She likes her head scratched. Yeah. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so like, yeah, anyway, it's I think, oh man, of course we could see that one coming from a mile away. At a certain point we realized that they probably have Thassa's Oracle in their deck, and then they can probably just win that way. Yeah, Thassa's Oracle, man. Actually, though, I was expecting Thassa's Oracle. When I thought about it, it's like, actually, Thassa's Oracle here, it wouldn't actually win them the game. But Laboratory Maniac would. I wonder if they actually have Thassa's Oracle, or if... Yeah, it's because the Teferi protected their Laboratory Maniac. Yeah, their Teferi protected their Laboratory Maniac. But, like, Laboratory Maniac does have a great ability to interact with, as long as you don't have a Teferi. So weird. Yeah, and I guess the reason why is because they want to be able to win from like 4, 5, 6 cards in the library, whereas Thassa's Oracle, like, they could draw a number of cards that makes it so that they are not really able to do it on cue, I guess. Anyway. All right, game 2, and I'm going to call this Azorius One Ring Martyr. Oh yeah, and let's obviously we bring in the Skyclave Apparitions from the sideboard. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna play. Oh yeah, we take out the Kaldra for Specter Shroud. Yeah, this is a matchup where this is the first matchup where we see where Specter Shroud hopefully will show its worth, because if we can pressure their hand, we'll be in a good spot. Other than that, just yeah, literally Wall of Omans, because we're never attacking anyway. I mean they're never attacking, so take out Wall of Omans for Skyclave Apparition. We'll be able to have the ring more guaranteed to be under control. So yeah, I think it's another one of those decks that seems a little all in on the ring. I think if we can deal with the ring, I think we should be able to deal with what their deck is doing. Yeah, I want to make sure there's a healthier number of cards in the graveyard before I deploy the Lion Sash. Okay. I feel like I really should have played Skyclave Apparition, because if they down tick and get value, okay, they didn't. Yeah. I probably should have got the Demolition Field. What am I doing, man? Like, why am I not playing Skyclave? I guess because I want to go after the ring, but very clearly, and I've even got the March to deal with the token, but yeah, I shouldn't have enabled them to draw a card with Teferi. I don't know what I was thinking here. I'm playing a little bit drunk sailery, but it should be Still be able to have a decent chance here. Doan's Veto. Manatize. See that one coming. Specter Shroud. We're gonna attack. Of course, we'll force a block, which is fine. Fine with that. I guess I just really don't want to lose to the ring, so I'm just refusing to deploy Skyclave. But I think we could have been able to pull further ahead quicker. Mazemind Tome, interesting. We don't even have that yet, but see, if anybody wonders, you know, like, is Mazemind Tome good? Like, literally, I mean, they literally named it with Pithing Needle. So, well, at least to say we have a million answers to the One Ring is kind of an understatement. I guess that's, at the end of the day, what we're hoping for. I guess we'll create a token on a turn. Okie dokie. Yeah. I think it's a little too tempting to. Oh, Hall of Moonlight. Okay, let's get rid of that. Let's Specter shut it up. Let's go after their hand instead of Teferi. Okay. I mean, hey, not bad. Okay, I played on Teferi. Cool story. Alrighty. Yeah, Batterskull. Don't mind if I do. Make tokens. So the Tude. They played the Tude. You gotta love the Tude. Alright, well, we'll probably just trade the token for the Martyr of Sands. That'll probably block to intercept with the Teferi. At least that's the goal. Okay, gain some life here. Supreme Verdict and Solitude. Good to know. See if they want to keep attacking. They do. I don't think they have much reach, so we don't really mind tanking the damage that much. We will win on time if this goes long enough, which is not necessarily the main way we're hoping to win, but it is a way to win, though. Alright, the Parade of Solitudes. We can start playing our own Solitudes at least. Yeah, exile that thing. Okay, Supreme Verdict, that's fine. So they bounced the Pithing Needle and they named Castle, which is okay. Because this means we can play Mazemind Tome finally. Or Batterskull, as the case may be. I'm also a little surprised I didn't play Skyclave Apparition on the ring a little earlier, but I'm a little worried that I have to have answers to the One Ring. It is a concern here. reprieve. Oh god. Joven's veto. Okay, and I guess we just go from here. Again, we can't make tokens yet, but could have marched the thing. You know, we gotta play around Laboratory Maniac for what it's worth. They have a way to instant speed draw cards. Let's see. I guess they're gonna play another verdict. Yeah. Yeah. We are ahead on time though, and we're ahead on cards in our deck. So, I mean, what can we say, right? What can we say? We ran out of things to fetch. Whoopee. I guess I'm throwing caution to the wind with the Supreme Verdicts, and we're just going bam. We're just going all out. But yeah, this is the kind of matchup that can kind of like grate on you because it's like, oh my god, it's going on forever, man. Ah, jeez, and reprieve is so annoying. Line binding, fine. Fine. So yeah, one to them, and the other to the Teferi. The one toughness creature obviously to Teferi. Oh my god. Enough of this, man. Unfortunately, because of Teferi, I can't interact. Instant speed is what it is. Okay. I guess they're gonna block. Oh, that's fine, I guess. I guess I just go after the Teferi. Man, I wish I would have done that just, you know, a long time ago, way closer to the beginning, so to speak. Cosmetic ending, that's fine. I guess Solitude. The Tude. So we'll tank it. Until this end of turn, I guess. Man, Eiganjo. So it never ends. I guess we can jump the Black Stone up to 6. But I think I may actually be putting the Blast Zone. I don't know. There's so many different lines we could have taken. Putting Blast Zone up to 6 might not have been half bad. We still actually have the option to do that. We could also just blitz for. We could also just blitz for. But I think putting Blast Zone to 6 is pretty game winning actually. But I think instead I opt to just make a ton of tokens. Well, also I guess yeah. I don't know. I mean, this, for what it's worth, this does actually tax the clock more. But hitting these things seems pretty big game too. Yeah. We dealt with the Lung Ring. Make a gazillion tokens. And it seems to me like it's pretty clear they're going to run out of time on the clock before anything else happens. Yeah, every time we activate these tokens, yeah, just continuing to crank out the tokens. But they are pretty clearly kind of running out of time here. This is like so much massive lag, I think, from the game at this point. Okay, and that's that. It's just out of time. Oh, man. Oh. All right, fifth match we're highlighting here, and hopefully this one isn't such a slog like the last one. Man, I wasn't even playing, I was watching the replay, and it was still like, oh my goodness. That was just like, there was just no end in sight. Like, just both of our decks are just like so defensive. It's like, ugh. Okay, Samwise combo. Oh boy. Oh yeah, I think I remember this one. Oh, I was not super familiar with the Samwise combo by this time. I knew that I knew vaguely how it worked, but I make a critical mistake, I think, at some point. So let's see. I get Mortarpod because I think that I can break up the combo with Mortarpod, but it turns out I'm mistaken. Yeah, so they go get their cat, I guess. Yeah, get their cat. Kaldra, yeah. The problem is I think I can break up the combo. I mean, to be fair though, what other options do I really have? I guess I should have scryed at least, beginning my upkeep with Mazemind Tome. Maybe I did. But anyway, the problem is they play the cat first, then the Viscera, then they have instant speed. Yeah, and here's the combo. I guess I have one full turn now. We got Viscera. So now we're on notice of the combo. Okie dokie. Yeah, I need some removal for Samwise, but just not materializing. But you know what actually I could have done, and I think I even mentioned in the chats to the opponents, like, oh dang it, I could have Mortarpod and equipped to another creature, hit the Samwise. Might have just had another Samwise in their hand though, to be fair, but anyway, it's what it is. And yeah, the combo is the combo. Like I had an out, but at the same time, I mean I did have Kaldra though, so kind of keeps these Rangers under control. Yeah, it was just possible I could have won this. That's what sucks. I actually could have dealt with Samwise. Who knows if they had another Samwise. All right, game two, sideboard. We definitely brought in Skyclave Apparition. Wall of Omans lines up well against Ranger, Captain Vios, but other than that, I think being able to interact with Samwise is probably a little bit better. Other than that, I don't think any really need to do anything. Yep, let's go. And this hand has mana and creatures. Doesn't have any answers to Samwise, but I don't think we can put it back. Just hope they don't have quick access to the combo. Yeah, Mortarpod would be pretty good. I think I should have gotten Mortarpod. I don't know. Cauldron Familiar. Yeah, probably should have gotten Mortarpod. Picking off the birds is a pretty big game. Okay. They could just combo me here. I have no removal. And that's exactly what they did. They actually got their Viscera. I was like, for real, man, for real. But, you know, it's okay. It's like, oh, man. The reality is, if we got Mortarpod, we would have just instantly hit the Birds of Paradise, and it just so happens that they had a spare mana anyway that they didn't need. I don't think we should have mulliganed this card, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be. And there goes the trophy. Alrighty. Alright, well, what can I say? Yeah, so that's supposedly a wrap up. I was impressed with the deck. I mean, honestly, I think we do have game against Samwise combo too. I think I've beaten it. I think I've beaten it since then, since I don't know. I don't even know if I played a match since this one. We know we can beat it with the mono black deck, and we have comparable levels of removal here. Not quite the same amount, but we have in the same ballpark. I mean, Path to Exile, Solitude, March of Otherworldly, and main Skyclave Apparition out of the board. With 16 removal spells, I think we should be able to have it under control, but hey, it is what it is. Other than that, there's literally nothing I would change, even in the One Ring meta. I think the Skyclave Apparition, I think that does a lot of heavy lifting against the ring, as we saw. I think we're generally favored against most of, like, at least the ring decks we've seen so far. So, hey, if we want to attack, the ring meta specifically, this could be an interesting option for us to explore. I absolutely loved playing this deck. This deck was a blast. It feels a lot like the red deck, just white, and hey, what can I say? It plays slightly differently, but at the end of the day, it's still mid-range goodness like we all know and love. And that's kind of what all the decks come down to. They all kind of play a little similarly, but they have a little bit different strengths and weaknesses, and that's what I love. So if you loved this as well, please don't forget to hit that, like and subscribe button. Yeah, and shout out to the patrons. Thank you so much to Savage Ooze, Patrick Wiseman, Westerman, Jules Varro, Kevin Rubach, S. Robertson, Sophus Garab, Erwin Lopez, Stanley Franks, Kyle Walters, Mark, Z. Cole Smith, Lucas Frank, Andrew Watts, and Michael Patton. So yeah, thanks everybody. I don't think there's too much for me to say anymore at this point. Just every card pretty much did exactly what I was hoping for it to do when I went over the deck tech. Even though this was post league, I still watching all the matches. I still don't think there's any changes I would have even after watching the matches. So I mean, there could be, but I think the main deck's pretty much a lock. I suppose the Skyclave Apparitions are the most flex slotty. Cut short maybe too. If you're sure you're not going to see any like Planeswalkers that are over 4 mana, then cut short might not be necessary because Skyclave again deals with Planeswalkers under that. But yeah. If the ring ever gets banned, Skyclave Apparition might not be necessary. But anyway, I liked it. I hope you all liked it, and take care, everybody. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah, I said it again. There we go. All right, bye-bye.